Most people think mentally strong people are born different. Better childhood, better genetics, more confidence. Wrong. They are not calmer than you. They are not more motivated than you. They just trained their brain to stop panicking every time life gets uncomfortable. You avoid hard things. They hunt them. You call it stress. They call it adaptation. That is the difference. David Goggins was not born mentally bulletproof. He was overweight, insecure, broke, and getting crushed by his own habits. Then something changed. He stopped asking, "How do I feel?" and started asking, "What is required?" That question builds monsters. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand the 3 mindset shifts mentally strong people use to become calm under pressure. Disciplined without motivation, and dangerous in a world full of distracted, fragile people. Chapter 1. They stop trusting their feelings. This is where most people lose before they even begin. You wake up tired, so you skip the workout. You feel overwhelmed, so you procrastinate. You feel rejected, so you shrink. You feel bored, so you scroll. Your entire life is being run by temporary emotional weather. That is insane. Feelings matter, but they are terrible leaders. Psychologist Walter Mischel proved this with the marshmallow experiment. Kids who could delay gratification tended to have better long-term outcomes later in life. Why? Because they were not obeying the impulse of the moment. They could hold tension without collapsing. That is mental strength. Most people think discipline means forcing yourself to suffer. Wrong. Discipline is simply refusing to let a low-quality emotion make a high-impact decision. You do not need to feel ready. You need a rule. Mentally strong people build rules, not moods. They do not ask, "Do I want to work today?" They ask, "What did I say I was going to do?" Big difference. Navy SEALs understand this better than almost anyone. In training, they do not rise to the level of motivation. They fall to the level of their systems. When chaos hits, nobody suddenly becomes wise and disciplined. You become whatever your habits trained you to be. So, if your habit is escape, you will escape. If your habit is action, you will act. That is why mentally strong people make tiny non-negotiable. Wake up, make the bed, sit down, start the task. Feel resistance. Do one more rep. Get rejected. Send another message. They train obedience to principle, not emotion. Principle. And here is the problem. Controlling your feelings is not enough. You can override emotion for a week, maybe 2. Then life punches you in the mouth and you fold again. Why? Because your identity is still weak. Chapter 2. They make suffering mean something. Most people experience pain and immediately ask, "How do I get out of this?" Mentally strong people ask a different question. What is this building? That question changes everything. Viktor Frankl wrote about this after surviving concentration camps. He noticed that people can endure extreme suffering if they attach meaning to it. Pain without meaning destroys you. Pain with meaning transforms you. Read that again. The average person thinks discomfort is a sign to stop. Wrong. Often, it is a sign that growth has finally started. Lifting weights tears muscles so it can rebuild stronger. Studying hard strains your brain so it can encode deeper. Rejection bruises your ego so it can detach from approval. Silence exposes your thoughts so you can finally face the pain was not the problem. Your interpretation was. Most people waste suffering. They get stressed and learn nothing. They fail and become smaller. They get embarrassed and hide. That is like paying for a lesson and refusing to read. Idiot. Elite performers do the opposite. They convert pain into proof. Hard workout? Proof I am becoming disciplined. Awkward conversation? Proof I am becoming braver. Setback in business? Proof I am in the real game now. Lonely season? Proof I can stand on my own mind. This is not delusion. It is cognitive reframing. Psychologists have studied this for years. The way you interpret stress changes how your body and brain respond to it. Kelly McGonigal has written extensively about this. When you see stress as useful, performance improves. Your body does not just react to events. It reacts to the story you attach to events. Most people tell weak stories. I'm behind. I'm unlucky. This always happens to me. I'm not built for this. Of course you break. Listen to your script. It is trash. Mentally strong people use better language. This is reps. This is training. This is part of the process. This is making me harder to kill. Language is not decoration. Language is program. And once you understand that, your whole life changes. Suddenly, boredom becomes focus training. Rejection becomes detachment training. Fatigue becomes discipline training. Uncertainty becomes faith training. Everything becomes usable. Hit subscribe before you forget that. Most people waste pain. We turn it into fuel here. But here's the thing, even if you can control emotion and extract meaning from discomfort, there is still one problem. Your environment is making you soft. Chapter 3. They train friction on purpose. Your life is too easy. Food in one click. Entertainment in one swipe. Validation in one post. Escape in one scroll. And you wonder why your willpower is weak. Your brain is being trained to expect immediate relief. So the second something gets hard, it sounds the alarm. Get bored for 6 seconds? Check your phone. Feel awkward? Leave the room? Get stuck on a problem? Open another tab? Feel anxious? Numb it. This is not freedom. This is addiction, with good brand. Dopamine is not evil, but your brain learns from what it repeatedly gets rewarded for. Cheap stimulation trains impatience. Constant novelty trains distraction. Instant comfort trains fragility. That is why mentally strong people add friction back into their lives on purpose. They do hard workouts. They sit in silence. They take cold showers. They read difficult books. They keep promises when nobody is watching. They delay rewards. Not because these things are magic, because they reteach the brain one crucial lesson. I can be uncomfortable and still be okay. That lesson is priceless. Angela Duckworth's work on grit points to sustained effort and perseverance mattering more than talent in long-term achievement. Anders Ericsson's work on deliberate practice shows improvement comes from strain, correction, and focused difficulty, not mindless repetition. Growth does not come from staying relaxed. It comes from intelligently surviving resistance. Constraint creates capacity. Most people are trying to design a life with zero friction. Bad strategy. A frictionless life creates a friction-intolerant mind. Then one real problem appears and you collapse dramatically. Like the end of civilization because the Wi-Fi died. Mentally strong people use voluntary hardship. They walk instead of drive sometimes. They leave the phone in another room. They finish what they start. They let themselves be bored. They do not always explain themselves. They practice being alone with their own thoughts. Why? Because every time you choose difficulty on purpose, your self-respect goes up. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs comfort to function. You become someone who can function anywhere. That is power. And here is the other thing. Hardship reveals truth. It shows you where you are still weak. Poor emotional control, need for approval, lack of patience, lack of focus. Good. Now you know what to train. Discomfort is diagnostic. It exposes the leak. Chapter 4. They build confidence the right way. This is where most people get everything backward. They think confidence comes first. Then, action. Wrong. Confidence is earned evidence. You cannot affirm your way into self-respect while breaking promises to yourself every day. You cannot watch motivational videos all week and magically become dangerous. Your brain is not stupid. It watches your behavior. It knows whether you trust yourself or not. Every kept promise is a vote. Every broken promise is also a vote. So what do mentally strong people do? They lower the drama and raise the standard. They stop saying, I'm going to change my whole life. They say, for the next 30 days, I do this one thing every day. Simple, brutal, effective. James Clear popularized the identity-based habit idea, but the principle is older than that. Every repeated action is evidence for the kind of person you believe you are. If you keep showing up, even badly, even tired, even unimpressive, your identity starts to shift, not because you imagined it, because you proved it. That is how real confidence is built. You write when you do not feel creative. You train when you do not feel strong. You work when nobody claps. You stay calm when life gets loud. Then one day, pressure comes. And unlike everybody else, you do not panic. Because you have been here before. You trained here. You built your mind in places most people run from. That is why mentally strong people look calm. It is not personality. It is familiarity. They practiced hard things so many times that difficulty stopped feeling personal. It is just another rep. By the way, if you want the simplest version of this entire video, it is this. Stop asking how to feel better. Start asking how to get strong. One question creates comfort addicts. The other creates self-mastery. But here's the problem. You can do hard things for a few days and still fall back into your old life. Most people do. Why? Because they treat mindset like inspiration instead of maintenance. Mental strength is not built once. It is built daily. Every day you either train courage or avoidance. Every day you either train focus or distraction. Every day you either train discipline or indulgence. Every day you either train peace or reactivity. Your brain is always adapting. The question is, adapting to what? To comfort? To chaos? To excuses? Or to standards? That part is up to you. So here is your challenge. For the next week, do one hard thing every day on purpose. 1. That is it. Cold shower. Hard conversation. Deep work session. Tough work. Phone off for an hour. Finish something boring without escape. Then pay attention to what happens. You will not just become more productive. You will become less afraid of yourself. Less ruled by impulse. Less dependent on motivation. Less breakable. And once that happens, life changes fast. Because the world belongs to people who can stay steady while everyone else is falling apart. Most people spend their whole lives chasing comfort and wondering why they feel weak. Mentally strong people do the opposite. They chase truth, responsibility, difficulty, and standards. And because of that, comfort starts chasing. That is the irony. The harder path becomes the easier life. But even if you build mental toughness, there is still one thing that can destroy all of it. Your environment. Your phone, your constant distraction. You can be strong, but if your attention is broken, your life is still leaking energy every day. That's why the next video is about how to rewire your brain for deep focus and destroy distraction before it destroys your future.